So I did supporting caregivers of individuals with disabilities, a look into access and inclusion. The so sorry. The lived experiences of family caregivers for individuals with disabilities. Caregivers, particularly family members, are the backbone of support for individuals with disabilities. I chose this perspective because of the vital role they play in advocating, navigating services, and ensuring inclusion in all aspects of life. Their voices often go unheard despite their significant impact. Perspective and focus perspective. Caregiver, specifically a sibling, caregiver for a brother with cerebral palsy and autism. Aspects of inclusion explored, healthcare, housing, government, social services, community inclusion. Sorry, that is my autistic son in the background. That's why I'm going to go through this super fast because I just do not have time. Okay, the interview. I interviewed my husband's cousin, who is the primary caregiver for his adult brother. Method: open-ended questions were sent via text and email, focusing on their lived experiences, navigating systems, and advocating for inclusion. Topics discussed were daily caregiver responsibilities, healthcare challenges, housing accessibility, navigating government services, advocacy, and needed system changes. I would like to explain that this boy, from the time he was born until about his mid-20s, he was told he was just autistic, and then he went to a neurologist and found out it was actually cerebral palsy. And the only reason why they went to a neurologist is because his body was kind of malfunctioning, if you want to say it that way. Basically, he was losing like nerve and endings, and he couldn't like lift, and he was getting super skinny, and just his muscles weren't working that great. So they finally realized it was something else. Also, he lived in California and then Arizona and then Michigan, so he kept moving around and seeing different doctors. So I feel like it was really hard to just get like a real diagnosis. Okay, to continue. Access issues identified. Many clinics are not physically accessible. Some medical professionals lack training on communication with nonverbal or differently communicating individuals. Misdiagnosis led to years of inadequate care. So again, that's what I was talking about. Autism diagnosed first, CP missed initially. The impact: accessing quality healthcare is not only a physical challenge, but an emotional and sporadic one as well. What I learned: inclusion and inequality inclusion challenges. Accessible housing is expensive and limited. Community inclusion requires constant advocacy. Adult disability programs and transport options are lacking. Equity gap. Caregivers must continually fight for basic services. This system is often built on the rigid criteria that don't consider real life needs and long-term disability. So I guess I could say that most of this has to do with the fact that when you get misdiagnosed, a lot of times the other physical aspect of what was going on with him was not being treated. So now he's in a wheelchair, but all those years he was not getting physical therapy, which I feel like probably led to him being in a wheelchair faster. Course connections, these are just the ones I use, and these are my external resources. Let's go to the next one. What I gained: a deeper appreciation for the tireless work caregivers perform. Again, I have an autistic son that is almost 4. I kind of understand this. It is very tiring right now. I need to attend to him, and I'm doing this. So I get it. Greater insight into how systematic delays and criteria limit access. I would say that most of it comes from being on lists to get a diagnosis. A year wait to get a diagnosis for autism, and then another year wait to get into the specific place you want to get into is absolutely uncalled for, wrong. These kids are not getting the therapy they need. It is just a mess out there. Understanding that disability justice must include support for families and caregivers, not just the individual. Something huge. No one told me I had to mourn all of these things that my son wasn't going to do, like a Christmas concert or saying "I love you, Mom" in his baby voice. There's nothing for moms to help them cope or understand or have to actually realize like you're going to mourn everything that they're never going to do the rest of their life while watching your other children do it. And there's not any resources for siblings, which needs to be brought to the attention. Emerging questions: how can systems be restructured to be more caregiver friendly? Yeah, I would say everything. There is nothing. What legislative changes would you make services more accessible and less bureaucratic? A diagnosis should come within a month. There should be more centers available, and it doesn't need to all be government funded. Insurance needs to fully pay for everything. I don't know why I'm paying $9,200 out of pocket when I have the highest tier individual insurance. I pay almost $1,500 a month individually out of my pocket, not with an employer because I am 1099, yet I'm still paying $9,200 out of pocket. Ridiculous. How can community programs better support adult individuals with disabilities and their families? Every single way possible. There is absolutely no support for siblings. There's little support for moms. There is some support for family within the autism centers or within the disability community, but in general, it's their own people doing it. There's nobody outside of the disability community helping families, caregivers with disabilities. It's always within the same group, somebody that's affected. Okay, next one. Conclusion, this project deepened my commitment to advocating for inclusion, not just in word, but through systematic changes. Families like the one I interviewed should not have to navigate complex systems alone. Equality means, I don't know why it's saying equity, but equality means making access easier, not harder for those who need it most. And that's it. Thank you so much. And I need to get back to my son. So we're going to end it at 6:23, I guess.